Alright, what is up you guys? This is All Day Any Day 1 on the PS3 here, giving you a brand new guide on the Arcane Warrior. I know I've given you guides before, I think I've given you 2, but I actually deleted those 2. So, and this build that I'm giving you right now is a whole lot better. Like, this build actually got me through Perilous by myself, all the way from the first room to the last room. I did not wipe, but I did die by the Demon Commander on the last room by myself, but this build it helps a whole lot. So here we go. Alright, so starting off in the Mentalism tree, you want to get just these 5 abilities. Well, you already start off with the Spirit Blade, but you want to get Phase Shield, Guardian Spirit, Combat Clarity, and upgrade for Spirit Blade, which is Defending Blade, and Psychic Backlash. Don't get Psychic Backlash yet. Get that one on the very last when you hit level 20. But the first 4 you want to get, or at least first 3, is Fade Shield, Guardian Spirit, Combat Clarity. And then you could either go ahead and get Defending Blade, or just go over here and then get one of these, either Fade Cloak or Fade Step. So we get to that next. So you do start off with Chain Lightning. You're going to be using Chain Lightning for maybe up until you're level 15 or 16, and it's a good way to build up your barrier. But I wouldn't upgrade it. I wouldn't upgrade it because it doesn't have any weakness. I guess it doesn't do anything with weakness, so I wouldn't upgrade it. You just go down and get Rejuvenating Barrier, Fade Step, get it upgraded, Fade Cloak, get it upgraded, go down to Disturbance of Spirit, Encircling Veil, then Restorative Veil. After Restorative Veil, Stone Fist, and get it upgraded. Don't use Stone Fist without it upgraded because it's not going to have that AoE and it won't be doing Weaken. So you want to get Stone Fist and then get it upgraded, which you'll be around level 15 or 16 by then. By then you'll be able to start doing Perilous, and the Stonefish just makes it so much easier. It helps a whole lot more. So after you get Stone Fist, go ahead and get Smothing Veil. It reduces your damage by reduces enemy damage to you by 30% if they're weakened. And then after you get Smothing Veil, either go ahead and get Static Charge or Twisting Veil. Twisting Veil, you do 15% more damage to weakened enemies. And then Static Charge, it paralyzes enemies that are about to hit you when you're about to use a spell. So Spirit Blade is a spell, but it's not going to be considered a spell, I guess, with Static Charge. It's for anything like Stone Fist, Fade Step, or Fade Cloak, and it really helps a whole lot because it will paralyze your enemies, and then if they're paralyzed and you have Stone Fist, go ahead and use that, and it'll do something called Discharge. I'm not completely sure what Discharge really means, but so far what I've seen it do is knocks down. Well, I mean, Stone Fist does knock down your enemies, but it just like makes a giant electricity blow up out of them, and then I mean I see they're on the ground for a really long time too, so I think that's what Discharge probably does. It makes your enemies stunned for a longer period of time, or paralyzed for a longer period of time. So after you get Static Charge, go ahead and get Twisting Veil, or one or the other, it doesn't matter, which whenever you got first. So after you got those 2, go ahead and get Stormbringer. Now I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh, Stormbringer, blah, 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 it's 60 seconds, every 15 seconds, blah, 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 and it's random. Well, the thing is, when you use electricity, for example, Chain Lightning, if you were to use Chain Lightning with Stone Fist, it would put your enemies to sleep. But since you don't have Chain Lightning in your build, Stormbringer is a good one to use because it'll pop electricity or storm lightning, whatever, down on your enemy, random enemy. Use Stone Fist, and then it'll put them to sleep. So that one helps a lot, especially with the Red Templar Commander. So after you get Stormbringer, go ahead, go back to Mentalism, and then get Psychic Backlash. What Psychic Backlash is, I mean, I just got it just because it does 5% stun chance, which it's a pretty low 5%, but it's still something. It still helps you defend yourself. The reason why you don't want to go down and get Gathering Storm is because you're not going to be using your staff. That's why you have Spirit Blade, and that's why you have Combat Clarity to give you mana back, and Rejuvenating Veil. Whenever you weaken your enemies, you basically have unlimited stamina. You can just keep swinging your Spirit Blade over and over and over. So that's, using your staff would probably be a no-go, in my opinion. And Mind Over Matter doesn't really matter. Whatever. But Mind Over Matter doesn't really matter too much, even because it says you are immune to flanking from enemies and have less chance of being staggered when hit from the front. But honestly, I don't see how that matters too much. Strength of Spirits does help your barrier, but it's either way your barrier is going down, and the way this build is set up is to keep your barrier built up for a long period of time. So anything past this is pretty useless. I mean, Spell Sword is pretty good because it gives you 10% armor bonus, but that would be kind of a waste to get this then this when you could have gotten something else, the ones that I just showed you. And so is Compose. Compose is good because of all those stats, and Phasing is good, and so is Conductive Current. But you're going to be wasting so much ability points going down this tree like that. So I would just get Spirit Blade upgraded, Combat Clarity, Guardian Spirit, Fade Shield, and Psychic Backlash. I mean, if you don't want that stun, you could, I guess, get that Force of Will armor bonus, but if you think about it, your barrier is what's keeping you alive, not your armor. This is just going to increase your armor by 20%. So I honestly don't see why this one would really matter. Elemental, go straight down all the way. Do not get Pool of the Abyss. I mean, you can get Pool of the Abyss if you don't get Stonefish, but I would highly prefer Stonefish, just because if you look at the cooldown, it's 6.8 seconds, 500% weapon damage, and then upgraded 4 meters, weakened duration 10 seconds. That 4 meters is a pretty big, I guess, area, or AoE, whatever, and it does a lot of damage, and it has a lot of different team combos. Pool of the Abyss, it doesn't build your barrier up. It doesn't do anything but pull your enemies in the center, and it gives you a good I don't know the word for it, but it gives you a good chance to use Fade Step and get in the middle, and then use Fade Cloak to build them up. But honestly, I'd rather just use Stonefish, just because you can knock down your enemies. You can knock down the archers, you can knock down those rogues, those assassins, the stalkers, whatever, the shadows. And yeah, Stonefish is just better in my opinion than Pool of the Abyss. Veil Strike doesn't do any damage, so don't get it. So after you get all that, blah blah blah, you're set, basically. You just want to keep in mind, you want to make sure your barrier is staying up. That's all your Arcane Warrior is meant for right now, in my opinion. Is to be doing a ton of damage, just because of all those weakened passives. That's why you're doing all these extra damages and stuff. And you want to focus on your barrier. Your barrier is keeping you alive. You want to have as much things as you can to keep yourself alive with that barrier. And how the rotation would go, I use Stonefish first on an enemy, Fade Step right into them, whatever, and then if they're still alive, I'll either go ahead and use Fade Cloak, depends on which one I want to do, Fade Cloak or Spirit Blade. So Stonefish first, then Fade Step, Spirit Blade, or Fade Cloak. And I'm going to be showing you guys a quick gameplay on how this Arcane Warrior was going to go, how I play as him. So. Alright you guys, now that we're back, I forgot to mention about the potions you should be using as the Arcane Warrior too, but maybe you've seen it during the video, but anyways, the potions that I use is just the normal health potion all on, what is it, R1? No, L1. And then I use lyrium potion and Mighty Offense Tonic and the regen potion. Those are the only ones I use on the Arcane Warrior. And the reason why I use lyrium and Mighty Offense Tonic is because they both stack each other. And lyrium, it gives you plus 60 magic, which helps. It lets your magic abilities do a ton more damage, which is basically your Spirit Blade and your Fade Cloak and your Stonefish, everything you have in your build. And then Mighty Offense Tonic increases your damage by 58, whatever. It's plus 58 damage bonus. And you do 50% more damage to guard and to barrier. And no, this isn't just for warriors or rogues or whatever. It is used for mages too. So these two are used for both classes. This one's more on the side for mages because you get that plus 60 magic, but it gives plus 50 mana for everyone also. So that's what I use for my potions. Now for my inventory, what I use on my weapon is, what I used to use was the Zealot Staff, just because it gave me that the 24 magic, but I used the Pyre of the Forgotten just because the higher DPS, the armor penetration, the plus 26% attack, and the 7% heal on kill, and the guard damage. It's just this staff that I would use over the Zealot Staff. So that's the stuff I use. For my armor, I don't really like how this armor looks, but compared with the one I used to use, the Enlightened Warriors armor, I had 16% fire rate resistance and 21% spirit resistance and 2% magic defense on the one I used to use, which is the Enlightened Warrior's Armor. But on the Inquisition War Mage robes, I have that plus 14% cold resistance and plus 12 willpower. That willpower just makes my attack a lot harder than the Enlightened Warrior's Armor. Or, yeah, Enlightened Warrior's Armor. And then for accessories, I use the cooldown amulet, 15% cooldown. I use the critical damage ring. I mean, I don't have any other rings other than this that are okay. So I use this one because I'm hitting crits a lot sometimes. And then I also use the 2% heal on kill. I mean, it's not an enhanced one, it's not a unique one, but it's still 2%, which I'm getting 9% heal on kill because of my staff. And then for my belt, I'm using my superb range defense. So that's everything I'm using on my Arcane Warrior. And hope you guys enjoyed, and hope this build helped. Peace.